It is my honor and privilege to introduce Reverend Barbara Schreiner Trudel, affectionately known as Rev B. Rev B began her ministry in 1998. Ordained with both CSL and Unity, she currently serves as the prayer chaplain on Unity Canada's board of directors. Winner of the prestigious President's Award for Southern Inc., which is a Canadian communications conglomerate whose primary business is newspaper publishing, executive producer and host for The Joy Show, and co-host for Spirit Cafe on the New Thought Media Network. Rev B is a force for good in our world. She has healed her body and is an inspiration to those around her. Author, coach, and minister, Rev B's life is her ministry. Please give a warm welcome to my friend, my colleague, my soul sister, Reverend Barbara Schreiner Trudel. Mwah.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl. That was lovely. I like that a lot. Oh, well, it is so good to be back. And of course, we're still talking about prayer. It's such an important part of what we do, how we live, and it really is a pathway to creating harmony and peace in our lives and in our world. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Prayer is not an act of overcoming God's reluctance, but should be an active acceptance of God's highest willingness." I think sometimes when we go into prayer, there's a feeling like maybe we have to convince something that we should get this blessing. And I think the something that we're trying to convince is ourselves. Because when we have faith, absolute faith that there is only one power in the universe, that it operates in and through each and every one of us, what happens is we come to accept that good is right here where I am. I don't need to go find it. I don't need to search for it. It is actually being me. So we change the way we view God. So the practice of prayer for me is a continuous thing. It is a thing that we do or can do, I know I do, moment by moment and day by day. It's important, I think, that we come to recognize that really what we're doing is communing with the absolute, communing with that one power. And it is in that communing experience, as we come to know this divine presence as a deep sense of our true self, our sacred, authentic self, when we get to that place, our prayers are answered before we ask a question. And in fact, as you know, you found out in the last 2 weeks, we don't really ask questions. We state what it is that we are choosing for our life, and we do it in the affirmative, present tense, personal. So the reason that we do that is we want to make a claim that, you know what, I am one with this infinite power and presence. And because I'm one with it, I have the power, I have the knowledge, I am connected with all that is. And so there is no separation, there's no them and us, there's no here and there, there's only this divine presence. So if I can just surrender into that awareness, when I do that, something happens. And that's when doubt gets moved aside and fear and worry get sort of set on the back burner, shall we say. And what happens then is we begin to experience the healing that we've been searching for. Now, I use prayer all the time in lots of different settings. You know, imagine driving from Kitchener to Toronto. What happens when you get near Mississauga? It's like a parking lot. At least it is every time I drive through there. So what I have come to do when I get caught on the 401 is just to simply know in my own mind, I go, you know what? I'm living in the divine flow. I'm part of this infinite creative force. So everything flows with ease and grace. That is a prayer. It's short, it's sweet, It allows me to turn up my tunes, sing along, relax, rather than becoming frustrated, annoyed, switching from lane to lane in the hope that traffic might get moving. I simply relax in the awareness that I'm in the right and perfect place. That's a prayer. The frustration and annoyance, that is a prayer as well. It's just the results are a little different. So we want to pay attention to the way we respond to life, knowing that this divine presence, call it God or spirit, first cause, absolute, the beloved, really doesn't matter what you name it. That energy is what we are. It's not something that's separate from me, different than me. It's not something I need to find or locate. It is, in fact, being me and being you. So the thoughts that we think are prayers. So I invite you to really, when you're thinking of your practice, to remember that you are practicing 24/7. But how is that practice working for you? And are you creating what it is you truly desire? So one of the things that I found in the Fillmore's book, Teach Us to Pray, let me find my quote here, was, it is said that on the ocean of life, a joyful person is a good person. The strong, joyful nature which makes its way where others fall by the wayside. Joy, spiritual joy, is ours by divine right and urges us onward to accomplishment. So when we are joyful, when we decide to laugh, to play, to sing, to dance, what we're doing is we're invoking that powerful presence in a very positive, beautiful, and remarkable way. And it is an energy that flows out from us. And because there's only one of us here, it is in fact shifting the consciousness within all of humanity, right? Because consciousness creates everything. Every little thing is created in consciousness. So I am thinking in and out of the very same consciousness that you are thinking in and out of. And so my negativity will draw down the masses. My joy and positivity will lift it. So we want to really come to that place of realizing our oneness with God. The Fillmores wrote, we must realize that God is the one and only power, and that it is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And it is the law for all of us to use alike. And we interpret God's law and operate in accord with it to the best of our ability in our endeavor to grow and prove God's power. We do this by checking in with our thinking. So when I think about my spiritual practice, when I think about the practice of prayer, the very first thing I want to do is get my head right. And so I will talk about the presence of God until I feel in my body, in my emotional state, when my thinking is in alignment. I come to that place of going, I am one with God. God is all powerful. Therefore, I am powerful. God is everywhere present. It is an energy, a vibration. And if you're not fond of the word God, use the word spirit or universe. I like the beloved, the beloved. I like that. The idea of the beloved being right here as me, being me, closer than my very breath. And it's coming to that place of acceptance of this divine presence as the only power in the universe. That changes everything. It changes the way we show up day by day. It changes our spiritual practice. It changes the way we interact with each other. It changes the way we think about our health or our work. And when that change occurs, that's when we've kind of landed the whole idea of the power of prayer. Prayer isn't about changing God's mind, because God is mind, mine, yours. It is that universal consciousness. So it's not about changing that. It's about changing my mind to see myself differently and to recognize that I'm one with the divine, one with the beloved, one with the absolute. So whatever it is that we're working on, we begin first with that. Now, for our practice, it needs to be a daily practice. It needs to be an ongoing thing. When life gets interrupted, and it does, and it will, when those bumps in the road occur, we have choices. And sometimes we react so quickly that it doesn't even seem like we have a choice. You know, somebody cuts us off in traffic and we start waving in a certain way. We're frustrated, we're annoyed. How could they? But what if instead we recognized that this person did not set out to cut us off? They didn't wake up in the morning and go, oh, I know where Cheryl's going to be at exactly 3:04 p.m. and I'm going to be right there to just slip into her lane. And it's not what happens. We know that. Probably the person is not paying close attention. Maybe we're in their blind spot. It happens. So we have a choice. We have a choice on how we react. And when we're thinking about the practice of prayer, I want us to think about the fact that prayer is an ongoing thing. It is our thinking going into the universal consciousness, creating the life around us. So the most beautiful thing we can do for somebody who is cutting us off in traffic or driving too fast or weaving in and out or anything that's frustrating us is to take a moment, take a breath, and bless them. Remember our oneness, unity. We are one. There's only one thing going on. And the energy that we put into everything impacts all life everywhere. So it's so important that we begin to view the world as a part of our own self, because it is. To view this divine beloved as a part of our own self, because it is. And because it is powerful, I am powerful, you are powerful, because it is everywhere present equally. We're all connected. We all have the ability to know whatever it is we need to know. But we tell ourselves stories. I don't know. You ever say that to yourself? I don't know. Somebody says, oh, what's your purpose in life? I don't know. I'm here to tell you, you do. That by speaking words that actually are not in alignment with what we truly seek and desire, we actually keep our good away from us. So the practice of prayer is about the practice of language usage, the way we use words, the way we think, not just speak, but think. The words that we're using go into the universal consciousness, and that law says yes. It says yes. To every thought we put out, it says yes. This is a really powerful thing to remember. If you remember nothing else from these 3 weeks, every word that I think or say that I have no resistance to, okay, that's the caveat. I have no resistance to it. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did that today. There's nothing opposing that idea. There's something in me that goes, oh, right now, that's how I feel. I'm not saying that, cancel that. But when we have that thought, you know, something happens, we make a mistake, or we trip and fall, or we get in a car accident and we get upset with ourselves, we burn dinner, whatever. There's a part of us that will go into judgment of us. And when we do that, this divine presence, this infinite eternal light that is being each and every one of us, simply says yes. It's an important thing to remember. When we use the I am, again, we're invoking prayer. When we use the I am, so often we put a negative behind it. I am sick and tired of COVID. I am sick and tired of lockdown. I am sick. Anybody ever do this? Probably all of us have at some point in time or another. Whatever we put behind I am, it's a very powerful statement. It's a very, very powerful statement. And it's going to become our manifestation. What happens is we become more and more of that. I remember years and years ago working in my first church, actually, that I worked in, and many people there had fibromyalgia, like over half of the congregation, actually. But a common phrase I heard all the time was, I'm sick and tired of. And when we put something behind the I am, that is a very powerful invocation of the divine. And so we want to really pay attention. I think it was in a book by Walter Starkey that he wrote, oh, Walter's feeling a little under the weather. However, I am perfect, whole, and complete. I am health. And so there's a way of talking about what our current reality is without actually lying, but just separating the I am from it, taking that step away so that we're not recreating a pattern that is not what we seek. If I want to be healthy, then I must state that, I must think that. And in the moments when I'm not feeling well, in that moment, I want to take a look at what the thoughts are that are running, and can I find a way of separating it from my conversation? Really important that we do that. The universe says yes, it's the only answer ever. It's a little bit like planting your garden. We have a seed, the seed holds all the potential. We are that seed, we have all potential. We take that seed and we plant it in the soil. We pat it down, give it some water, make sure it's going to have sunlight. Now, if I plant zucchini, okay, what am I going to get in the fall? Zucchini, of course. But what if I want carrots, but I planted zucchini? We're going through our lives day by day, planting ideas into the law of mind, the soil, the soul. We plant these ideas. And the manifestation comes and we go, wait a minute, I didn't want that. But if we go back, we will find that the very thinking that was going on for us, the feelings of anger, frustration, resentment, regret, guilt, shame, whatever it was, all of those things go into this very fertile, creative medium. And then they manifest, because the universe can only respond to what it's given. It's like your computer. If you put in a piece of software, let's say you put in Microsoft Word, and then you try to do your accounting, and it's not working, and you get frustrated with your computer and throw it out. My computer's broken. No, it's not. It needs QuickBooks. It needs an accounting software, that's all. So that's all we're doing, is we're reframing our thinking to be more in alignment with the divine, more in alignment with this divine presence that we call God or spirit, beloved, the absolute, first cause, infinite one, universe. So many words we can use. But what we want to do is remember what it is and where it is. It is everywhere present. It is where you are. It is where I am. It's the all in the all. There is no place where it is not. What I think, and deep in my subconscious mind, what I believe to be true, is actually creating the life that I'm living. And I have the power to change that. You have the power to change anything in your life. But it really does require paying close attention to what my moment by moment prayers are. Am I living in a state of love, peace, and grace regardless of circumstance? Or am I struggling moment by moment with everything that's going on around me? And there's been stuff, right? I mean, COVID was hard on us. All that time being locked in and locked down. Here we are meeting online, right? We don't get to see each other in person, but there's a blessing in that. There's a blessing in that. I am really grateful for COVID in the sense that it has brought about a new way for us to communicate and connect. Used to be that the only way, I might come to a service in Kitchener or Ottawa is if I happen to be driving through, right? I live in Toronto. That's not going to happen. Look at the speakers that you've had come in from the US and stuff. That would have been very, very expensive and difficult to do if only meeting in person. But we've discovered this whole new way of being together, of creating community. Remember when we had the games night? Like, how fun was that? It was an opportunity for us to be together and to rejoice. So when we look at what's going on in the world, if we can find the blessing in it, and believe me, it's there. There is always a blessing in everything. If we can find that, we will always be in that energy and in that space and in that vibration of possibility. We'll be creating more joy, more love, more peace. Does it mean we'll never have a bump in the road? No, it does not mean that. It means that regardless of what's happening in the manifest world, I will find peace and joy in each moment because I know every interruption, every little thing that seems to go askew is taking me toward my greatest purpose, my greatest vision, my greatest possibility. If I surrender into this idea of full potential, power, and possibility. The realization of God as a great wooing, all-knowing presence, and everywhere present sustaining strength, wherein each person functions and works out their own salvation, is to be established in a mighty stronghold that fortifies us against all adverse beliefs. That was the Fillmores. Teach us to pray. Prayer is our way of acknowledging, remembering, reminding ourselves that there's only one power, one presence, one source, one substance. And when we live there, things really do work out for good. Cause and effect are two sides of thought. And spirit being all is both cause and effect. So prayer then is its own answer. So I invite you to acknowledge and remember, like I say, if you remember nothing else from these 3 weeks, God's answer to every thought you think that you believe in is yes. It's the only one. So take a moment, take a pause, and allow yourself to really acknowledge that and to feel that vibration. And when you go into prayer, begin with that oneness. And when something in your life is causing you stress, go into that oneness. Feel what's going on, be with what's going on, and go back to the one. Let us go into meditation. Please join with me. So I anchor this idea, this message, by surrendering into this infinite presence, the beloved. I feel this energy coursing through the cells of my body as I acknowledge that there is but one thing. Taking a deep breath in, quieting the mind. I invite you to take a moment in the silence to simply commune with the divine. There is one power in the universe, one divine energy, first cause of all things. I live, move, and have my being in it. And all that I am, all that I do, all that I become comes from this one source. So I relax my body, my mind, my journey, knowing that I'm here to be present moment by moment, day by day. And the more that I do that, the more peaceful, joyful, and loving my life becomes. So I relax into it, embrace it fully. And I take a deep breath and bring my conscious awareness back to this time and place, knowing all is well. And so it is. Namaste.
Namaste. You know, every time I hear you talk, I'm always like awed. I'm in awe because you speak from your heart. You speak from a place of knowing. And I have to say, I have to let everybody know that you live the truth you know. You're one of the few people that I can honestly say walks the talk. I don't believe I've ever heard you say anything negative. Your energy is always just so beautiful, so calm, so loving. And I'm just so grateful, Rev B, for this wonderful series that you've given us at Unity Kitchener and Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa. And I'm grateful to have you in my life. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. I really do feel privileged to spend time with everyone. So thank you for the invitation. Thank you, everyone.
And now we'll go into a song by Daniel Neymar, When I Pray.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into mine.